You've been taught the same lie for centuries. Mathematics began in Mesopotamia. Ancient Greece refined it. Europe perfected it. Wrong. Mathematics began 20,000 years ago, deep in the heart of Africa, and the proof has been sitting in a Belgian museum, virtually ignored, for 70 years. This is the story they don't want in your textbooks. This is the Ishango Bone. Discovered in 1950 on the border between Uganda and the Democratic Republic of Congo, it's not just old, it's ancient. Carbon dating puts it at a minimum of 20,000 years old. Let that sink in for a second. 20,000 years. That makes it 15,000 years older than Sumerian cuneiform, 17,000 years older than Egyptian hieroglyphics, and 19,000 years older than anything the ancient Greeks ever touched. But here's where it gets interesting. This isn't just some primitive tally stick. This isn't a hunter-gatherer scratching lines to count kills. This is advanced arithmetic. This is mathematical theory. This is a computing device. And when Belgian geologist Jean de Heinzelin pulled it from the shores of Lake Edward in 1950, he had no idea he was holding a 20,000-year-old bomb that would threaten the entire foundation of Western academic history. Now, predictably, the academic establishment had a response. It's just tally marks, they said, primitive counting, days in a lunar cycle, nothing more. But here's the problem with that theory. It falls apart the second you actually look at the bone. The Ishango bone has 3 distinct columns of notches, and if you examine them closely, they're not random. They're not arbitrary scratches. They're organized, they're intentional, they're mathematical. Column 1, it contains the numbers 9, 19, 21, and 11. Now, at first glance, that might seem random, but watch what happens when you group them. 9 plus 21 equals 30. 19 plus 11, also 30. That's not coincidence. That's addition. That's subtraction. That's an understanding of numerical balance that requires abstract mathematical thinking. But we're just getting started. Column 2 gets even more interesting. It contains the numbers 11, 13, 17, and 19. Notice anything? Every single one of those numbers is prime. Not composite, not divisible, prime. Now, if this were just a caveman counting animals, why would every number in that column be a prime number? Why would someone 20,000 years ago be isolating primes from composite numbers unless they understood the fundamental difference between them? This isn't basic arithmetic. This is number theory. This is an understanding of mathematical properties that we don't even teach until middle school today. And column 3, it shows doubling sequences. 10, 20, 5, 10. This is multiplication. This is division. This is an understanding of base systems. Whoever carved this bone didn't just know how to count. They understood the underlying structure of mathematics itself. This wasn't a calendar. This wasn't a tally stick. This was a teaching tool, a curriculum, a mathematical key. This was the world's first calculator. Think about that for a second. 20,000 years ago, while Europe was still locked in the Ice Age, while Neanderthals were still roaming the frozen tundra, someone in Central Africa was teaching advanced mathematics. Not just counting, not just basic addition, prime numbers, multiplication, division, base systems. The Ishango bone isn't just a historical artifact, it's a computing device. It's proof that the mathematical revolution didn't start in ancient Greece. It didn't start in Mesopotamia. It started in Africa, 15,000 years earlier than we've been told. And when you hold this bone up next to a modern calculator, the comparison isn't just poetic, it's literal. The principles are the same. The functions are the same. The purpose is the same. This is humanity's first computer, and it's African. So here's the obvious question. If this bone is so significant, if it rewrites the entire timeline of human mathematical development, why isn't it in every history textbook? Why isn't it in the Smithsonian? Why isn't it on display at the British Museum next to the Rosetta Stone? Why is it sitting in a basement display case at the Royal Belgian Institute of Natural Sciences in Brussels, where most people have never heard of it? The answer is uncomfortable, but it's true. Despite the peer-reviewed evidence, despite carbon dating that confirms its age, despite mathematical analysis that proves its sophistication, the Ishango bone has been exiled to the margins of history, dismissed as tally marks, relegated to footnotes, ignored by mainstream academia. And the reason why has everything to do with when it was discovered, where it was discovered, and who discovered it. 1950, the height of Belgian colonial rule in the Congo. This was an era when the entire European colonial project was built on a single narrative: African intellectual inferiority. The justification for colonialism wasn't just economic, it was ideological. It was the belief that Africans were primitive, that they had no history, that they had contributed nothing to human civilization. And then, in 1950, a Belgian geologist pulls a 20,000-year-old mathematical computer out of the African soil. Do you see the problem? This artifact didn't just contradict the colonial narrative, it obliterated it. It proved that while Europe was struggling through the Stone Age, Africa was already doing advanced mathematics. It proved that the foundation of human intellectual achievement wasn't in Athens or Rome or Mesopotamia. It was in Central Africa, 20,000 years ago. Here's the thing about academic bias. It's not always loud. It's not always obvious. Sometimes it's just silence. It's the textbook that mentions Sumerian mathematics but ignores the Ishango bone. It's the documentary that credits Greece with inventing logic but never shows you the 20,000-year-old proof of African number theory. Because to admit that the Ishango bone is a computer is to rewrite 5,000 years of Western-centric history. And for some institutions, it's easier to call it tally marks than to admit the foundational truth. 20,000 years ago, the greatest mathematical minds on Earth were in Africa. The Ishango bone is more than just a mathematical tool. It's a challenge. It's a defiant piece of evidence that refuses to be ignored. It proves that the history we've been taught is incomplete, not by decades, not by centuries, by tens of thousands of years. And it's not alone. From the advanced metallurgy of the Nok culture, to the astronomical precision of the Dogon people, to the 11-story stone skyscrapers of Great Zimbabwe, the evidence of African intellectual achievement is everywhere. It's just been buried, dismissed, ignored, but not anymore. The story of human civilization doesn't begin in Mesopotamia. It begins 20,000 years earlier, in Africa. Don't let this history be buried again. If you want to keep unlocking the truth about African civilization, the achievements textbooks ignore, the evidence museums hide, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Because we're not stopping here. Every Tuesday and Saturday, we're releasing new 10-minute deep dives into the forgotten history of Africa. The empires, the inventions, the battles, the truth. Next week, we're covering the African furnaces that hit 1800 degrees Celsius when Europe couldn't break 1200. You won't want to miss it. I'll see you there.